Hey all, here OS Reviews. You're watching our unboxing and first impressions look at the Huawei Honor MagicWatch 2. This is a round display smartwatch that sells for under $180, making it a competitor with the likes of Amazfit's GTR 2 series. So it's just a matter of what design you like better and kind of what manufacturer you like, whether it's Amazfit / Xiaomi versus Huawei or Honor. So this has a slightly more utilitarian look in my opinion, has a slightly larger stainless steel bezel with markings on it, 2 crown keys, has an AMOLED display as usual, and comes in 2 variants. There is a larger version here which is 46mm, and also a 42mm edition which is more compact. Now in terms of the battery life endurance, it claims to last for up to 14 days before you need to recharge it again, which is great compared to say an Android Wear watch or an Apple Watch that you may need to recharge every day or two, and also has 2 different color versions, black and brown, that you can kind of customize it with. Of course, the straps can be further tweaked. It has an always-on display mode. It's powered by Huawei's own Kirin A1 chipset, which they claim to optimize performance and battery life. Standard tracking include continuous heart rate monitoring, built-in GPS so you can track your route when you're running outdoors. There's the standard SpO2 these days, which can monitor your blood oxygen, has 50 ATM for waterproofing, and just like the GTR, has 4 GB of built-in storage as well, so you can use it like an MP3 player without even being connected to your smartphone, which is neat, and does also have a microphone and a speaker combo, again, just like the GTR. So you're able to answer phone calls directly on it, and in terms of the packaging, it is done very well. You can peel on this plastic wrapper here basically, and then just sliding things open, we have of course the MagicWatch 2 just right on top. Underneath this flap we have the watch, and on the right hand compartment is where we have the charging cables, and we actually get what looks like a standard USB Type-C cable which is detached from the cable. This is pretty similar to most smartwatches these days, has 2 pogo contacts, it's magnetic, so it attaches onto the base, and then you can quickly charge it up. We've also got a slew of quick user guides and warranty information. Then it's just the watch itself. There's a foam padding that we can remove, and that is it. So the presentation does feel slightly more premium than the Amazfit smartwatches, being completely honest. Tapping on the red key for a few seconds, it will turn on to life. There's haptic vibrations to alert you of notifications. We can select our language here, and then try to pair it using the Huawei Health app, which is available for both iOS and Android. Pretty standard stuff. And immediately we can see that the screen here is pretty nice and contrasty since it is a AMOLED panel, measuring a little under 1.4 inches diagonally. We have again these accents. The glass here is curved, 3.5D, so it does feel very sensitive as you are swiping along. And in terms of the frame, we do have again the 2 crown keys that you can access different menus with. The sides of the watch here, the top portion is made out of stainless steel, and then we do have kind of a rubber accent going on for the bottom portion, including on the back. However, it does feel like the sides here are not necessarily plastic. It's still a metal material, it's just been coated with a rubber layer on top for some added resistance. Generally speaking, this feels heavier in terms of weight than the Amazfit GTR 2 as well as the GTR 2e. So here's a side by side, although both watches have pretty similar dimensions in terms of the screen size. This one here from Amazfit and Xiaomi does feel considerably lighter, so it does feel very sturdy and surprisingly hefty. However, it's definitely not as thick or heavy as something like the TicWatch Pro that we saw. You can see here side by side, the TicWatch is like a monster in terms of the thickness. This is still very slim and won't really catch the sleeves of your shirts. Side here has the microphone and the loudspeaker, and then the array of the sensors for the heart rate monitoring, as well as the charging contacts on the back, some branding information. Again, the straps can be fully removed, and then the clasp here is also made out of metal, has a Honor logo. Now in terms of the companion application, again, it's using the Huawei Health app, which if you have used any of their other smartwatches or wearables in the past, it should be quite familiar. From here we can take a look at devices, and we've checked out their bands before, but not this smartwatch, so we can tap to connect and try to find the watch here under the list of devices. And we are going to disconnect from the previous devices, including our Honor bands, in order to try and connect to this smartwatch. Confirmation message here on the watch, and we will confirm, and it should then connect and then share over some of our settings, including our contacts as well as our profile. Now in terms of the app, it's quite simple. Watch faces at a quick glance. There's lots of customization just like with Amazfit smartwatches. So there is a catalog that you can pick from. Many of these are very attractive. It's constantly growing since, again, this is one of the more popular budget smartwatches on the market. The list here really just goes on and on. So very good in terms of choices that you can make. And otherwise, we can also take a look at different things such as health monitoring settings, weather reports. Do we want to open notifications and have them sent over to the watch? Other things such as the raise to wake gesture, do we want to turn that on so that the screen will turn on to life whenever we raise the watch to our face, and if there's any firmware updates. Speaking of, there was a software update just now, and it's going to kind of reboot. And by the way, something I just noticed now is actually the bezel or the crown. If you point it at the light in certain angles, it actually reflects, and there's tiny little grooves. It's a little hard to see unless we catch the light just right. You can kind of make it out here, but overall, again, shows some pretty good attention to detail. Now taking a quick look at the software on the smartwatch itself, we can again swipe over to the right to take a look at our heart rate, current weather, and it has a dynamic kind of animation that slowly changes, which is pretty neat, although it seems like you can only see the weather in terms of the current time, doesn't show you days in advance, like the next 7 days, for instance. Take a look at my number of steps I've taken during the day, as well as times that you were active, and then going back to the main screen. So it loops around, pretty simple, and overall the fluidity does seem to be pretty smooth, so overall working well. Drag up to take a look at your notifications, drag down to look at quick shortcuts, other connection properties, and even customizing what the buttons can correspond to remap to launch into a different application whenever you press on it. Speaking of, by default, the bottom key will automatically trigger the different sports that you can track on the watch, and one of the advantages here compared to Amazfit smartwatches is Huawei definitely has more active sports tracking in the sense that it's almost like a coach that is virtual and on your wrist. So if you're doing a certain session, it will actually tell you things as you're performing the activity, like try to move faster in order to achieve your goal, try to move slower, and it will tell you after you've done things like walked 1 kilometer, for example, and it uses the speaker to give you those commands. So there's a bit more of a extra attention to detail when it comes to these activities and sports, which I do like. Now in terms of the top key, you can press once to take a look at the full list of applications, including things like your activity records, call records that you've made on the watch itself, other things like music, barometer, or compass, and you can just jump into more of these settings. There's also a flashlight that turns the entire display white, so you can illuminate subjects in the dark. There's plenty of storage here, so you can also store many watch faces on the built-in memory without worrying about anything getting full, so you have lots of customization that you can play around with if you want to tweak the look of the watch, and of course find more options using the companion app and just simply pushing it over. So that's just basically our unboxing and first impressions look at the Honor MagicWatch 2, and still a very solid, affordable smartwatch even here at the beginning of 2021, and still the current generation from Huawei and Honor at the moment, so it could be worth a consideration if you want something as an alternative to aforementioned Amazfit and other smartwatch. And you can check out more details if you're interested in our full review coming out soon, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.